Hello guys, welcome to Concentrate Academy. In this video, I'm going to be showing you properties of indices. Now you need these properties in addition to the laws of indices in order to solve certain expressions on indices. So let's get straight into it. For our first property, it's in two parts. Now the first part states that any positive number raised to the power 0 is 1. So in this property, we have our variable, which is what? A to the power 0, giving us 1. A is the positive number. The second part of the property states that any negative number raised to the power 0 is minus 1. So minus a to the power 0 is minus 1. You can take any negative number in the world when it is given an exponent of 0. Minus 1 is the answer. Let's move on to property number 2. Property number 2 has to deal with the power of the product of two numbers. Let's establish some variables to explain this. We have our product, which is A times B, and our power, which is N. Now, what this means is that if you have two numbers multiplying, all raised to the power a certain number, it can be rewritten as A exponent N times B exponent N. Let's take an example. So our example here is going to be 3 times 6, all to the power 2. And we can write this as 3 to the power 2 times 6 to the power 2. 3 to the power 2 gives us what? 9. Then 6 to the power 2 gives us what? 36. 36 times 9 gives us 324. And that's our final answer. Let's move on to property number 3. Property number 3 has to do with negative index. So let's establish our variable, which is a to the power negative b. So our index is b, but it's negative, so negative b. What the negative index property states is that if you have a variable a to the power negative b, it can be rewritten as the reciprocal of your variable a to the power the positive index, which is now b. Now mind you, it's based on the condition that a is not equal to 0. That is when this applies. Let's take an example. Our example here, okay, is 2 exponent minus 4. Our a here is 2 and our b is 4, but it's minus b, so it's minus 4. This can be rewritten as 1 out of 2 all exponent 4. we can simplify this as 1 out of 16. And that's our final answer. Let's move on to property number 4. So property 4 has to do with the power of the quotient of two numbers. So we have two numbers. Let's just use variables before we take examples with numbers. When we have our variables a out of b all to the power n, what this property states is that it can be rewritten as a to the power n divided by b to the power n. Let's take an example. We are going to be using 4 out of 7 all raised to the power 2. Now this can be written as 4 squared divided by 7 squared. Simplifying this gives us 16 divided by 49. And that's our final answer. Let's move on to property number 5. Property number 5 talks about the negative power of the quotient of two numbers. Using our variables, we have our quotient, which is a divided by b, raised to the power our negative index, which is minus n. What this negative power property says is that this can be rewritten as b divided by a all raised to the power the positive index. So what happens here is that the numerator now becomes the denominator and the denominator now becomes the numerator, and the power changes from being negative to positive. This also comes with a condition. The condition must be that a should not be 0 and b should also not be 0. Let's take one example. Our example here is going to be 2 divided by 3 all raised to the power minus 2. Rewriting this one gives us 3 divided by 2 all raised to the power what? 2. And now we can use property number 4 when it becomes like this, and now have 3 squared divided by 2 all squared. 3 squared gives us 9 and 2 squared gives us 4. We can further write it in mixed fraction, which gives us 2 whole number 1 out of 4. And that's our final answer. Let's move on to the final property of indices. Property number 6. Property number 6 states that any variable raised to the power 1 out of 2 is the square root of that number. So our variable here is what? A, exponent 1 over 2, which gives us the square root of A. Also, if you have A with the index 1 out of 3 is the cube root of A. Likewise, if you have A to the power 1 out of 4, it's the fourth root of A. Now, in general, if you have a variable A raised to the power a fraction, so let's call our fraction m divided by n. What it means is you are finding the nth root of the number A all to the power m. Now, kindly take note of this, because for certain questions of indices, you will be required to be operating with fractions such as 2 over 3. I mean, your m over n is 2 over 3. You could have 4 over 7. So you wouldn't be able to really apply 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3, because your numerator is greater than 1. So you will need this general formula. You will need this general formula in order to solve questions when you are given fractional in the index. And that's it for property number 6. Try the following examples and let me know your answers in the comment section. If you like this video, kindly leave me a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that anytime I release a new video, you'll be notified. I love you very much, and I'll see you again in my next tutorial. Bye-bye.